The koala, who couldn't fall asleep, far away in the eucalyptus hills of Moonberry Forest, where every leaf smelled like honey and clouds drifted as slow as lullabies. There lived a little koala named Kier. Kier had the softest fur in all the forest and eyes that shimmered like tiny marbles of silver moonlight. Every evening, when the other koalas curled into balls and drifted into dreams, Kier stayed wide awake, blinking at the stars, counting the rustles in the trees, and wondering why sleep never wanted to find him. Maybe sleep forgot my tree, he sighed one night, dangling upside down from a low branch. From the next tree over, Mama Koala peeked through the leaves. Sleep never forgets anyone, darling, she said gently. It just waits for you to slow down enough to catch it. But I try to slow down, Kier insisted. I close my eyes and count leaves. I listen to crickets. I even hug my pillow extra tight. Mama smiled. Ah, but you're trying too hard, sweetheart. Sleep doesn't like to be chased. It likes to be invited. Kier blinked. Invited? How do you invite sleep? Mama leaned closer and whispered, the stars can help. They've been teaching sleepy creatures for a very long time. Maybe they'll show you how. That night, as the forest grew quieter and the wind tucked the branches under its cool breath, Kier climbed higher, higher than he had ever gone before. He reached the very top of his tree, where the world was silver and soft. The stars blinked above him, not just white dots, but glowing friends, each one humming a sound only hearts could hear. Hello, Kier whispered, shy but hopeful. Do you know how to make sleep come? One of the stars flickered brighter, like a wink, then another. Soon, a tiny voice floated down, soft as mist. Sleep isn't something you find, little koala. It's something you grow. Kier gasped. Grow? Like flowers? Yes, said the voice. You plant dreams instead of thoughts, and let them bloom quietly inside your mind. Kier frowned, still hanging onto his branch. But I don't know how to plant dreams. A gentle laugh rippled across the sky. We'll teach you, said the stars together. But you must start by counting. Not leaves, not clouds, but us. Count you? Kier asked. But there are so many. That's the point, whispered the stars. Each one you count will slow your heart just a little, until it beats like a lullaby. So Kier began to count. 1, 2, 3. He counted slowly, watching how each number seemed to drift away like a sleepy balloon. 4, 5. By the time he reached 10, his eyelids felt a little heavier. 11. And when he whispered 12, something magical happened. The stars began to shimmer closer, weaving themselves into shapes that danced between the clouds. A sleepy bear, a twinkling river, a glowing moon kite. Kia's heartbeat matched their rhythm. Steady and calm. Keep counting, murmured the stars, and we'll show you what dreams are made of. Kier smiled, curling his paws under his chin. For the first time in his life, he wasn't trying to sleep. He was simply counting light. And somewhere between number 13 and 14, he forgot to keep counting. Because sleep had finally found him, softly, sweetly. Like a blanket made of silver clouds. Asterisk Kier didn't remember falling asleep. One moment he was counting stars, and the next he was floating among them. The air around him shimmered like sugar dust. His paws didn't touch branches anymore, but rested on something soft and glowing, a path made entirely of light. Where am I? He whispered. You're inside your dream, said a familiar, tinkling voice. Kier turned around and gasped. It was one of the stars, the very one that had first spoken to him. It hovered like a tiny lantern, glowing gold and smiling. We told you we'd show you what dreams are made of. The star spun in a tiny circle. Welcome aboard the Dream Sky train. Kier blinked. The what? The glow brightened, and the mist around them cleared. Before him appeared a train made of moonlight. Its carriages shimmered silver and blue. Its windows sparkled like crystal bubbles, and its wheels turned without sound, gliding over a ribbon of starlight that curved into infinity. Come on, laughed the little star. You've got a ticket. Kier looked down. Sure enough, A tiny golden ticket had appeared in his paw. Written in curly letters were the words, "Passenger, Kier the koala. Destination, the land of gentle dreams." He stepped aboard. The floor felt like walking on clouds that had learned to hum lullabies. Inside, other dream travelers filled the glowing seats, and all wearing tiny reading glasses and holding a book upside down. A kangaroo in polka dot pajamas, a shy baby elephant clutching a blue blanket, and a penguin drinking cocoa that steamed with glitter. "Hello," Kier said nervously. "Is this your first time on the dream train?" The penguin giggled. "Oh no, we're frequent dreamers." "You must be new." Kier nodded. "I never used to sleep much." The owl looked up from its book. "Ah, a thinker," it hooted kindly. "Too many thoughts bouncing around. HMM?" Kia's ears drooped. "I just couldn't stop wondering. What if I forgot something? What if tomorrow was scary? What if my dreams got lost?" The owl closed its book and leaned closer. "Dreams don't get lost, little one. They just take detours until you're ready to see them." Before Kier could reply, the train began to move. The sound was unlike anything he'd ever heard, not loud like thunder or quick like wind, but soft and slow, like the whole world was rocking itself to sleep. Outside the windows, stars streamed by in glittering rivers. Some shaped themselves into animals, some into ships with sails made of moonlight. Whole constellations waved as they passed. "Wow," Kier whispered. A gentle voice came from the next seat. "Beautiful, isn't it?" He turned to see a wise old koala, her fur silver white like frost, her eyes deep as the night. "You must be Mama Luna," Kier said softly. "I've heard stories about you." Mama Luna chuckled, her voice like soft thunder. "Oh, I'm in many stories, dear, but tonight, I'm here to tell yours. My story?" She nodded. "The story of how a restless little koala learned that stillness isn't empty, it's full of wonder waiting to be noticed." The train entered a glowing tunnel made of clouds that shimmered with dreams. Inside it, pictures floated past, memories of Kia's days, him climbing trees, laughing with his friends, helping a baby bird find its nest. "These are your gentle dreams," said Mama Luna. "The ones that grow when you do kind things." Kia's heart felt warm. "I didn't know they stayed with me." "Oh yes," said Mama Luna. "Dreams remember what hearts forget." The train slowed as the tunnel opened into a wide sky filled with floating islands made of soft light. One island shimmered with colors like melting rainbows. "That's the Garden of ZZZ," said the penguin. "The softest nap spot in all the dream world." "Next stop," called a voice from nowhere, "the Garden of ZZZ. Please exit gently and mind your imagination." Everyone laughed. The passengers gathered their pillows, blankets, and sparkles. Kier followed, stepping off into the warmest, quietest air he had ever felt. Fireflies floated between giant flowers that glowed from inside. A soft melody drifted through the air, a lullaby sung by the wind itself. Kier stretched, yawned, and for the first time, he didn't feel sleepy because he had to. He felt sleepy because it was nice. Mama Luna patted his head. "You're learning, my dear. Counting stars helped you find the door to dreams. But what matters next is what you do once you're inside." Kier tilted his head. "What do I do?" "Dream kindly," she said. "Even in sleep, your heart can make the world softer." And with that, Mama Luna shimmered, becoming a cluster of glowing stars once more, twinkling high above. Kier lay down on a glowing petal, hugged his tail, and watched the sky swirl gently above him. The stars winked, the petals hummed, and the world whispered a single word to him: rest. Kier awoke in the dream garden to a sound that wasn't a sound at all, more like the soft ringing of starlight brushing against leaves. He blinked, rubbed his sleepy eyes, and found that the sky above had changed. The stars that once floated high and far away were now closer, dancing in slow circles like fireflies playing tag. Some drifted so near that he could almost touch them. "Hello again, little dreamer," said the gentle voice of the stars. "Are you ready to learn what sleepy stars do?" Kier sat up, his fur glowing faintly under their light. Yes, please. What do you do when everyone's asleep? A dozen small stars twinkled together in laughter. We keep watch, they said. We wander through dreams, carrying calmness wherever it's needed. We remind hearts to rest and minds to soften. That sounds wonderful, said Kier. Can I help? The biggest star floated close, spinning slowly. Of course you can. Tonight, you'll be our helper, a keeper of sleepy stars. Kia's eyes widened. A keeper? Me? The star nodded. Dreams are brighter when kindness helps them glow. With a whoosh, the garden shimmered and shifted around him. The petals of glowing flowers folded into clouds, and the clouds became puffs of light, stretching into the night. Kier found himself floating gently upward, surrounded by a swirl of sleepy stars that jingled like bells made of mist. The stars sang softly as they guided him through the dream sky. Shine for the hearts that cannot rest, glow for the ones who try their best, drift where the weary quietly are, bring peace on the wings of a sleepy star. Their song wrapped around Kier like a blanket. He smiled and whispered, "Where are we going?" "To the dreams that need help," said a silver blue star. Some creatures forget how to calm down before sleeping. As they floated, the world below appeared like a soft painting. Kier saw dream islands glowing dimly, and one that flickered as if its light were struggling to stay on. "That one," said the smallest star. "Someone down there is too worried to dream." The stars circled him, and together they drifted lower until they reached the island. On it stood a tiny opossum, pacing back and forth, her tail tied in a nervous knot. "Oh dear," said Kier softly. "What's wrong?" The opossum jumped, startled. "I can't sleep. My nest keeps making sounds, crackle, creak, squeak. What if it falls?" Kier looked around. The nest was high in a dream tree that shimmered like glass. The sounds were only the branches stretching, not breaking. But he understood. Fear always sounded louder at night. He looked to the stars. "Can we help her feel safe?" "Of course," said the blue one. "Show her the trick we taught you, the counting of calm." Kier smiled. He climbed gently into the tree beside her and said, "Let's count the stars together. Every number you say, imagine it glowing softly in your chest." The opossum blinked. "Like one light at a time." Exactly. They began. 1, 2, 3. With each number, her tail loosened, her shoulders dropped, and her breath slowed. By the time they reached 10, she yawned. "Oh, I think my nest stopped creaking." Kier grinned. "No, it just doesn't sound scary anymore. You're calm enough to hear it properly now." She smiled sleepily. "Thank you, little koala. You're good at this." When she closed her eyes, one of the stars drifted down and perched on the branch above her, glowing like a night light. Kier whispered, "Sweet dreams," and followed the stars back into the sky. As they flew higher, another island came into view, darker than before. A small platypus floated on a lily pad, tossing and turning. His beak made bubbles of worry. "I can't stop thinking," he mumbled. "What if I forget something important? What if I dream of nothing?" Kia's heart softened. "Then I'll lend you one of my dreams," he said. He plucked a tiny spark from the nearest star. It floated down like a feather and landed gently on the platypus's head. The spark opened, poof, showing a little dream of swimming through starlight instead of water. The platypus sighed and smiled in his sleep, bubbles turning into tiny moons. Kier laughed quietly. "This is the best kind of helping." The stars swirled around him in agreement. "See, your dreams can light others, too." "Do they ever run out?" asked Kier. "Never," said the stars. "Dreams grow back every time you share one." Kier felt proud. Not the big, noisy kind of proud, but the quiet, warm kind that lives in your belly. As the night continued, he and the stars visited creature after creature. A restless bunny afraid of tomorrow, a drowsy bird afraid to land, and a turtle who dreamed too slowly and needed a little patience. Each time, Kier used his gentle counting, his soft words. and his glowing calm to help them drift into rest. By the end of the night, the stars shone brighter than ever, and Kia's heart felt full of peace. "You did wonderfully, Keeper," said the biggest star. "But remember, every helper must rest too." Kier yawned. "I guess even stars get sleepy, huh?" "Exactly," said the voice with a smile. The dream sky began to dim softly, and the stars hummed one last lullaby for him. "Little Koala, your light will stay, even when dreams fade away. Count the stars when you can't see, and sleep will always come to thee." Kier smiled, eyes closing as the starlight wrapped around him like a warm hug. The last thing he heard was the stars whispering his name. Softly, kindly, "Good night, little Keeper." The morning came quietly, like a yawn stretching across the sky. Dew shimmered on every leaf in Moonberry Forest, and soft beams of light spilled through the eucalyptus trees. Kier blinked awake, still wrapped in his favorite branch. For a moment, he wasn't sure if the night had been real. The dream sky train, Mama Luna, the sleepy stars. It all felt too magical to be true. He stretched, rubbed his eyes, and mumbled, maybe it was just a dream. But when he looked down, he froze. Right there, in the middle of his paw, rested a tiny speck of light. It shimmered faintly, warm like morning sun, cool like moonlight, and very, very real. Kier gasped softly. "A star!" It flickered once, as if to say, "Good morning, little Keeper." He held it close, smiling so wide that even the sleepy beetles nearby blinked at him. "You came back with me." He climbed down from his tree, careful not to drop his tiny treasure. The forest was waking, kookaburras laughing in the distance, wind humming through the branches, leaves whispering secrets only morning knew. At the bottom, Kier found his friend, Bindi the wombat, still yawning as she brushed dirt from her burrow. "Morning, Kier," she mumbled. "You're up early. Couldn't sleep again?" Kier giggled. "Actually, I slept better than ever. And look!" He opened his paw. Bindi squinted. "Is that a firefly?" "It's a star," Kier said proudly. "I met the sleepy stars last night, in my dream. They taught me how to help others rest. And this one came home with me." Bindi tilted her head. "That's, impressive." She smiled kindly, though she clearly thought he was being silly. "Well, maybe your star can help me. I had the weirdest dream about floating sandwiches." Kier held his paw out. "Let's see." He let the little star float gently toward her. It circled once above her head, then settled on her nose, and sparkled. Bindi blinked, then giggled. "Hey, that feels nice. Like a nap that smells like pancakes." The star floated back to Kier and pulsed faintly, as if pleased with itself. Kier grinned. "See, it's real." Okay. Bindi laughed. "You win, Starlight Boy, but you should show Mama Koala before it floats away." So Kier hurried back up the trees, the star lighting his way like a tiny lantern. The forest animals watched curiously, a parrot, a lizard, even a sleepy kangaroo who mumbled, "Don't shine too bright, mate. I'm trying to nap." When he reached his tree, Mama Koala was munching on eucalyptus leaves. "Good morning, sleepyhead," she said with a smile. "Did you finally find sleep last night?" Kier nodded eagerly. "I did, and I found this." He opened his paw. The star glowed softly, filling the tree with silver gold light. Mama's eyes widened. "Oh, Kier, that's beautiful. It's a sleepy star. It came from my dream. They taught me how to help others rest." Mama steadied the light, her voice soft. "Sometimes, when hearts are very open, dreams send us a piece of themselves to remind us of what we've learned." "So, it's real?" Kier whispered. "As real as kindness," said Mama. "It's a part of you now." Kia's chest filled with warmth. "Then I want to share it. Maybe it can help others, too." Mama brushed his ear with her paw. "Then start with the forest. There are plenty of friends who need a bit of calm." That day, Kier carried the star gently wherever he went. When he met the sugar gliders, chattering loudly over who got the biggest branch, He held out his paw, and the stars' light softened their voices until they giggled instead of argued. When he found the nervous turtle, who never liked crossing open ground, he set the star beside him. The turtle smiled and said, "It feels like the sky is walking with me." And when the sun grew hot and the younger koalas got cranky, Kier placed the star on a branch above them, where it shimmered cool and peaceful. Within minutes, everyone was napping by sunset. The whole forest was calm, quieter, gentler, full of sleepy smiles. Mama Koala watched from her tree and whispered, "You've become a real keeper, Kier, not just in dreams." Kier looked down at his glowing paw. The light was softer now, smaller, but it didn't worry him. He knew why. The more he shared it, the more it became part of the world around him. And that was the best kind of magic. That night, the sky hung low and soft above Moonberry Forest. The trees whispered good night to one another. The wind curled itself into blankets, and all the sleepy animals were already dreaming. All except Kier. He sat on his favorite branch, looking at the tiny star in his paw. It had glowed brightly all day, helping, calming, sharing warmth, but now its light seemed dimmer, like a candle trying to remember how to shine. "Are you tired?" Kier whispered. The star blinked faintly, its glow flickering like a heartbeat. "Oh no," said Kier. "You can't fade. I still need you to help others sleep." The star twinkled weakly in reply, a soft pulse of gold that almost sounded like a sigh. Just then, Mama Koala climbed up beside him. "Sweetheart, why aren't you sleeping?" Kier looked up with worried eyes. "Mama, my star, it's losing its light. What if it disappears forever?" Mama looked at the tiny glow in his paw and smiled gently. "Stars never truly disappear, Kier. They just find new ways to shine. But this one came from my dream," he said, his voice trembling. "What if I lose it, and the dream forgets me?" Mama brushed his cheek with her paw. "Dreams don't forget kind hearts. Maybe it's time you give the star a rest, too." Kier shook his head. "No, there must be a way to help it. Maybe the other stars will know." He looked up at the dark sky, where thousands of stars blinked softly. "Please," he whispered, "I need your help." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, a gentle breeze stirred the leaves, and a single silver beam of light stretched down from the heavens, wrapping around Kier like a ribbon. "We hear you, little keeper," said the familiar voice of the stars. "Your star is not dying, it is changing." "Changing?" Kier asked, holding it up to the light. "Yes," said the voice. "You shared its glow with so many hearts that part of it has returned to us. Now, it needs a new spark to stay bright." Kier's ears perked. "A new spark? Where do I find one?" The stars shimmered, forming the faint outline of Mama Luna, the silver koala from his dream. Her voice was soft, yet steady. "Every star needs balance," she said. "Yours shines with kindness, but to keep glowing, it must also be filled with peace." "Peace?" Kier tilted his head. "I thought helping others gave it strength." "It did," said Mama Luna. "But now it needs you to rest, to listen, and to dream again. The keeper must refill his light from the same place he first found it, inside the quiet." Kier's shoulders drooped. "So, I have to sleep." Mama Luna smiled. "Yes, little one. You must rest so the star can rest with you." "But what if I can't sleep?" he whispered. "What if I try and my mind stays noisy again?" The night breeze swirled gently around him, carrying the faint song of the sleepy stars. "Count the calm, not the sky. Let your breath be soft and shy. Close your eyes. Let dreams appear. Peace will come. The light is near." Kier hugged the star to his chest. Its warmth pulsed against his fur, faint but comforting. "Will you stay with me?" he asked softly. "Always," murmured the star. "Now breathe with me, little keeper. In and out, slow as clouds." Kier closed his eyes and began to count not the stars this time, but his breaths. One in, one out, two in, two out. The forest sighed with him. The leaves rustled gently. Somewhere nearby, a frog croaked a sleepy note that somehow fit perfectly with the rhythm of the night. With each breath, the star's glow brightened, just a little, first gold, then silver, then a soft, tender blue. Kier smiled sleepily. You're glowing again. The star pulsed in his paw. Because you are resting again. He yawned, curling himself into a cozy ball, the star resting on his chest. Its light stretched across the branch, spilling over the leaves, wrapping both him and his tree in a warm, silvery glow. As he drifted into dreams, Mama Luna's voice echoed faintly from the sky. Even stars need quiet hearts to shine from. Down below, the whole forest shimmered faintly under Kia's sleepy light. The birds dreamed of gentle winds, the wombats dreamed of soft burrows, and even the restless crickets hummed in time with his breathing. The little star, now brighter than ever, blinked twice and whispered, "Good night, keeper of peace," and together they fell asleep, one tiny heart and one tiny star, glowing in harmony. When the morning came, it arrived quietly, as if it didn't want to wake the dreams still sleeping on the trees. Soft gold poured over the hills, and every eucalyptus leaf sparkled with dew shaped like tiny stars. Kier yawned, blinking open his sleepy eyes. The air smelled of rain and honey. He stretched and smiled. "Good morning," he whispered to the little star on his chest. But when he looked down, the star was gone. His paw was empty. Only a faint shimmer of silver dust remained, glowing softly between his fur before fading into the morning light. Kier sat up fast. "Star, where are you?" He looked under the leaves, behind the branches, even inside his pouch blanket, just in case. But the star was nowhere. His ears drooped. "It's gone." Just then, Mama Koala climbed up, carrying a fresh eucalyptus branch for breakfast. "Good morning, sweetheart. Did you sleep well?" Kier nodded slowly. "Yes, but my star disappeared." Mama smiled gently. "Are you sure it disappeared?" Kier frowned. "Well, it's not glowing in my paw anymore." Mama brushed his cheek with her soft paw. "Maybe that's because it doesn't need to anymore." "What do you mean?" She pointed to his chest, right over his heart. "It's here now." Kier blinked. "Inside me." "Yes," said Mama. "You shared its light with everyone, and you learned how to rest, to help, and to listen. The star didn't leave you, it became part of who you are." Kier placed a paw over his heart and gasped. Beneath his fur, a gentle warmth pulsed, soft and steady, just like the star's light used to. "It's really here," he whispered. Mama smiled. "Now you don't need to look for light in the sky, Kier. You carry your own." Kia's eyes sparkled. "Then maybe I can still help others just like before." "Of course," said Mama, "but remember, help gently. Even light must rest." Kier nodded. "I'll remember." That evening, as the sky blushed with sunset, he climbed once more to the top of his favorite tree. The whole forest shimmered in the golden glow of dusk. The wombats were yawning, the sugar gliders were snuggling into their pouches, and the parrots were settling their feathers for the night. Kier looked up at the first few stars twinkling above. One blinked brighter than the rest, soft, golden, familiar. "Hello again," Kier whispered. A voice, warm and kind, echoed from the sky. "Hello, little keeper. Thank you for sharing our light." Kier smiled. "I thought you were gone." "We never leave," said the stars. "We just move into the hearts that are ready." Kier looked down at his chest, then back at the glowing sky. "Then we'll shine together." "Always," said the stars. The wind sighed through the trees, carrying the soft rhythm of a lullaby. When you can't find the stars above, close your eyes and dream of love. The brightest light, the truest part, shines not in sky but in your heart. Kier closed his eyes and let the wind wrap around him. He felt the same gentle warmth rise through his chest, glowing just enough to light the branch beneath him. Down below, tiny sparkles drifted through the trees, bits of calm, bits of kindness, tiny pieces of the light he had shared. They floated toward every burrow and nest, settling softly like snowflakes made of peace. Soon, every creature in Moonberry Forest slept soundly, wrapped in the glow of one small koala's heart. As the moon rose high, Mama Koala whispered from her branch, "Good night, my little keeper of light." And above them, the stars blinked in agreement, one of them shining just a little brighter. As if smiling, Kier curled into a ball, his fur glowing faintly like a tiny sunrise. He didn't need to count stars anymore, because now he was one quiet, kind, and full of gentle dreams.